Big week for you. Opportunity knocked, and you answered the door after Henry Cejudo was injured. What has the build to this one been like heading into Saturday, getting ready to fight Marlon Vera?
Oh, it's a lot of expectation going to the fight. I felt great. My last fight against Greece. Just got back in training right after my last fight. It was April, somewhere in the middle of April. I was training, and when I got a call from Sean to replace Cejudo 6 weeks in advance, I felt there was plenty of time to get ready for Chito.
This is obviously a big card, and not only that, it's a big card for the bantamweight division with the title on the line in the main event. How much more important does it make a fight like this in your mind, knowing that you have a chance to set the table, so to speak, for the title fight?
Yeah, all my fights speak for themselves. It's really important to also showcase that I'm still here, strong. All my previous fights spoke for himself, and this is not a different one. It's the type of fight that it's gonna be a lot of eyes on us. Even though better like that, right? It's gonna be a lot of eyes on us. It's a big card, a bantamweight title. It's gonna be displayed on that night, and I believe like an impressive victory over Chito is gonna even push me forward towards the goal. So let's see.
Marlon's had a good run. He's coming off the tough loss to Corey Sandhagen. He hits really hard, super durable, much like yourself. Doesn't get finished really ever. This matchup just screams fun. It just screams a dogfight. Is that how you view this as well, that you two are just going to go in there and just kind of beat the brakes out of each other?
For sure. Just like that. We have probably the same amount of fights in UFC. We are like the most bantamweight fights that we have in the division. It's Marlon, it's Chito, and myself. Very durable guy. I don't think he never been finished in one of his fights. So myself too, I never been knocked out or finished in none of my fights. We both like to go and exchange and bring like some type of like a dog fight, which nowadays a lot of people try to fight and play more safe. Chito and I, we are like, don't give a fuck. We just go for war.
A win here puts you in a good spot, and if Sean O'Malley beats Aljamain Sterling, and even if he doesn't, you guys got in there last year. You and Sean, the eye poke happened after you had a really good first round, and then there's some unfinished business there for sure. Is there a part of you that hopes Sean gets it done so that you can try to finish that business with the stakes as high as they could possibly be?
Actually, a part of me want to fuck him up in a hotel, but the other part of me as a father, a husband, and a believer say, no, don't do that. You're going to get yourself some way. I'm kidding. So it's definitely... We're professionals, I know he does that too. It is what it is. I'm not the guy that I sell my soul to the devil, so I can get more followers, sponsor, or money. But nobody's supposed to be like each other, and he has his ways of doing things. I have my way of doing things, even though it's a fight that I'm looking forward to see it. Sterling, really good wrestling, grappling background. Sean O'Malley, long reach, precision, knockout power. So it's definitely a fight that it's going to be really good for the bantamweight division.
Who wins?
I think Sterling.
Pedro, hello, over here. Well, you guys, he already said it in some kind of way. Chito's probably the most similar fighter to you that you could have gotten. You're both very durable. You're both really hard hitters. Both of you have finished most of your fights before the final bell. You've won most of your fights not by decision, but either by knockout or by submission. Do you see this as being a fight that's going to give fireworks like since the beginning, or have you planned anything different? Have you strategized differently in order to not give Chito the fight that he probably wants?
The funny thing is I always plan, and my coach is like, no, let's start like this, and then I do that. Let's be more strategic. And then I ended up, the bell rings, and then I just go for the bra. It's, I think it's more part of my spirit, the warrior, the inside of me that like to go there and get business done quick. Even though, some of my fights I don't get the finish. We are in the organization that we're fighting the best fighters in the world. But my strategy, my main goal is always to finish my opponents, no matter if it's a knockout or submission. And I don't see this fight going in another direction. I'm going to just push the button, press forward, and try to get the finish.
Considering Chito was a top 4 fighter not more than a few months ago, and you're, of course, replacing a top fighter himself in Henry Cejudo, how big of an opportunity is this for you to get in the spotlights, probably go up and rank a few places, especially considering that Aljo said this is probably his last fight at bantamweight, and that's definitely going to shake up the division.
Yeah, let's see. So they need to fight first to see what's gonna hold for the future in that division. I'm focused only on my next fight Saturday night. And what was your other question? Sorry.
How big of an opportunity is this for you, considering you're fighting a guy who was top 4?
Oh, it's a great opportunity. Sean contacted us 6 weeks prior. I didn't even think twice. It's a big opportunity, a big fight, and that's what the type of fights that I like to be. And I'm never gonna walk away from a good fight.
Thank you.
Pedro, over at your left. You mentioned that you and Chito have both been top contenders in the division for a really long time. You guys haven't faced each other. How long has he been on your radar? Because I'm assuming you probably knew that this day was going to come.
100%. Chito and I, we fought same card many, many times in Brazil, in Vegas, in LA. And we have the similar style in some ways and a little bit different in other ways, even though we were going to winning a lot of fights and then lose some. We were always next to each other on the rankings. And then something that I always thought that the possibility of us fighting would be big.
His last fight, Sandhagen kind of dominated that fight. Do you look at that fight at all and kind of have maybe a blueprint or something that you want to follow, saying, hey, if I do the same thing, I'll win the same way?
Yeah. I don't think it works in this way. It's not like a math formula that if we do the same thing that the other fighter did to be Chito, is going to work. I don't think MMA is like that. Every fight is different. Every minute in the fight is different. Sandhagen has a little bit different style than I do. So I watch that fight, something that I don't watch in many of my opponent's fights, but that was one of the fights that I wanted to see it just as a curiosity.
And my last question is, we already mentioned the main event is in your weight class, where things have happened before, where things happened the week of the fight. Any chance you purposely weigh in at 135 in case something weird happens?
It could. I don't see that happening. Chito is a professional guy. We always make weight.
I was thinking more of something happens in the main event.
I'm a professional, and if UFC say, something here change, and we have to adapt, I will be able to adapt and to do whatever it takes.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Pedro, right here. Obviously you had the fight with Sean O'Malley, and it ended prematurely, unfortunately. But what were some of your biggest takeaways, I guess, from his style, his fighting? Like when you got in the cage with him, just what were your takeaways from what he can do in there?
Besides his bitch-ass hand open all the time in front of my face, he's pretty good. Has a good length. He was kind of like surprised the way that I was pressing him and not getting hit. The leg kicks, the high kicks, the pressure. And I believe I won the first round. Second one, and I didn't see the scorecards, anything like that. But, besides all the immature stuff that he does on the internet, he's a good fighter, and if I get the opportunity to fight him again, I don't see why not.
And obviously, but from your fight to the Peter Yan fight, did you see him improve? Did you notice anything? Have you looked at that tape at all?
Yeah, even though I thought that he lost that fight, he impressed me on his skills. He's pretty tough and getting better every single fight.
Thanks, Pedro.